Hello, it is Tuesday night, Tuesday the 6th of October, and you are watching the Skinny Jean Gardener Show live on your screens right now. We've got a hell of a show coming up for you. We're here Monday to Thursday, 8 till 10, right here, giving you awesome garden content. The only gardening show that's on 4 nights a week. I think that's a record. Actually, we should bring record breakers on that. You're a record breaker. Anyway, we've got a great show coming up for you tonight. George Lamb is coming on the show, plus taking your calls, which I'm very excited about. If you fancy sharing the stream, that'd be really nice too. Just give it a little share, whether you're on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, or Twitch. Tell your friends about it. Tell your mum and dad about it. Tell your nan about it, and your neighbours or whoever else is about. Facilia.
Start.
Facilia. Do it. Or Pacilia, if you just read it off there.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm on.
Oh, I can't hear you, on. Done something wrong with the thing. Anyway, elephant poo is what I got.
Good evening, Lee. How are you?
Great, mate. Your signal is always terrible, but I'm good, my friend. Excuse me. You got an allotment? When I go, don't put artificial grass on top of me, alright?
You're going to get composted, Lee.
Yeah,
Migration.
puff tea in hand. It's the best dad in the world. I know last night we had some signal issues, and I'm not going to say we're not going to do it tonight, but as long as you can hear me, that's absolutely cool. Let's see who's about. If you've got a comment, whack it in the comments. The phone lines are open, even though the banner's just gone. There it is, 07 42 357 420. If you want to come on around 8:30 tonight, we are going to have George Lamb on the show, which is very exciting, talking about his We Are Grow up in Tottenham. What's the phone going off for? I don't know. Let's see who's about anyway. Nice countdown, says Rich. Thanks, mate. As we got Stu says, evening. Lee, you look chipper. I feel chipper, my friend. Feel chipper tonight. No dig to victory. Hello, how you doing? Wow. That's wow. That's a first comment. That's pretty big. Can hear you. No probs, says Ian. Am I coming in? Hello? Am I coming in too loud? What a week. Glad it's my night off. See, Rosie, Charlie, Twins, and Kelly. I see. Yeah, they did. Rosie, Charlie, Twins, Kelly. They kept me entertained last week. It was great to chat to them. I'm going to... Dan. I'm going to say Dan. I'm not very good with names. I've been an awful teacher. We got the amazing Mrs. Mitchelson. Hello, if you're watching. She won't be. Yeah. Trying to every morning. She stands outside of Olive's school and tries to remember everyone's name. I would be useless at that. I'll be morning. Morning. That'd be me done. But how are you? How you doing, everybody? What's going on? Dan, yes, I got it right. Boom. That's 1 point to Lee. What a week. What a weekend. What day are we on? Tuesday. What weather. I mean, it didn't frost last night. Probably not a surprise to most of you. I honestly thought it was cold enough to frost over. There was a glint across the grass and people laughed at me. Well, if that happens this week, you won't be laughing, will you? You won't be laughing. What's happening here? Hang on. The old phone's going nuts. Is it working? It's just a text message from the... Okay. Thanks for that. You can text as well if you want. 0742 574 520, or just comment in the comments what you've been up to. We can talk about that too. What is going on? The phone's taking a hit here. It's not a great start to the show. We do this every week. This is pretty much how it works every week. I said on Twitter last night, I said, last night we were trying to buy some goats. Tonight we've got George Lamb on, which I'm very excited about coming up our state. But what's everyone been doing? Kelly already spent 200 quid on plants. What's this? What's Kelly been spending on plants? Kelly's going for it. Must remember, I'm going to need to send your book down, Dan. Skinny Jean Guard book is on the way, team. It is on the way. Ray says, am I drunk or is the screen fuzzy? It's probably fuzzy, Ray, because we've had terrible signal issues. Let me talk amongst yourselves. Wait there. Oh, by the way, if you want to be zapped into the conversation tonight, that is the code for that. All right, let me just move this phone to a window and see if that makes any real... Probably won't. We'll move it to a window, and let's move it to a further window. That I don't know if that'll make any difference. Will it make it? Let me know. Let me know. We did have some technical issues last night, and we seem to be having them still now, so that's a shame. Has Richard got his VIP card yet? No, he hasn't. So I'm seeing him next week, so I'll hand deliver it to him. VIP card's still available, guys. All you got to do is call in on 0742 357 4520. Only 8 out of 50 VIP cards gone currently. If you call in and the group decide you're worthy of a VIP card, I shall send it second class straight to you. How about that? So this is exciting. This is exciting. Like I say, tonight we've got George Lamb. We're going to be talking about kids gardening. So the final hour of the show will be talking about kids gardening. This is exciting though, because we have got an exclusive coming up. Maybe this week, probably not, but next week, definitely. From our roving reporter. I didn't ask him to do this. He has decided to take it himself. But yesterday we talked about a goat called Flymo. And I saw today on Twitter that Mr. Sean James Cameron, our roving reporter now, he's took it on himself. He's not being paid, but he's took it on himself. Is off to go and see an interview a goat called Flymo. I should explain to anyone that's just tuned in, who's here to watch the George Lamb interview and nothing else. We were talking about goats sorting out the grass and eating the grass. That is the reason we were talking about goats yesterday. I was looking to see if I could hire a goat to help eat some of the weeds in my garden, eat some of the grass as well, help Vince out the lawnmower. Anyway, from that, it's a bit strange, isn't it? But we're now going to get an interview with a goat. So, welcome to the Skinny Jean Gardener show. Apparently, it's clear on YouTube. There you go. Thanks, Ian. If you're struggling to see me, or if the dulcet tones of my Essex voice is not enough for you, then YouTube's a place to see me in all my glory. So, a rainy day today. I think we'll all agree. One of the things that I've really enjoyed today, had a little cook up today of some of the bits that I've been growing. I had some potatoes left over that I've been storing. I had a courgette, just the one, wasn't massive. I had a few tomatoes, which I mentioned yesterday. What else did I put into it? I added some garlic, but I can't take any credit for the garlic. Anyway, potato and a bit of chicken, not great for your veggies or vegans. Anyway, into a pan, whacked it in together, mixed it all up. A few olives. Again, I didn't do the olives. Oh, yeah, it was. Yeah, a few herbs. Oh, lovely tonight. Lovely. Something about growing something and then eating it and cooking it up. Something about that in there, making good food. Pink sunset in London. Weather is a weatherman as well. Pink sunset in London this evening. So tomorrow looks like a good day, says Sean. I really hope so. I don't know if you heard me yesterday, but tomorrow is my gardening day. Wednesday, I've cancelled a meeting tomorrow because I was really just want to concentrate on gardening. I've got an interview to do halfway through the day about social media, but the rest of the day is a garden day. Very excited. Sean from Kids Do Garden. Isabel, hello. How you doing, my friend? Get back to my email, man. Sent you an email, man. Get back to it. Ruth's in the house. Hello, Ruth. Callie has finally sat down with a rum and coke. It's Tuesday. It's Tuesday, isn't it? It's true. Every day's a weekend, really, isn't it? Every day. It's all right. We're not judgmental here. But to be fair, 4 kids, I would have started at midday. Bucketed it down here. Says Ian. M60 reduced to a 20 mile an hour. We should have like some news thing. M60 reduced to 20 mile an hour due to flooding. M66 closed for a while for the same reason. That's from Ian Beddoes on the YouTube. If you've got any traffic news, then please do get in touch. Skinny Jean Gardener Show, or hit the link, or 0742 357 4520. This is Traffic with Lee. We say dry at Forest School today. Hopefully the same weather tomorrow. From Stu. Well, everyone else seems to have had good weather. We had actual thunderstorm here. Actual thunderstorm. Is rum and coke a drink or another pair of goats? That would be a good name for 2 pair of goats. I don't think Callie means goats. I don't think so. I don't think so. It's tea. That's what I promise you. I promise it's tea. Yeah, so tomorrow, I really, to be honest with you, I want to cut the grass because Vince ain't been out. Not with goats. And I've got a load of weeding to do. I don't know if I mentioned a couple of weeks ago that I had a load of compost that I described must have had some sort of weed seeds in it. People laughed at me. But anyway, amongst that compost that I'd made, there must have been some weeds and some rubbish that just hadn't broken down. So in all my new pots that I potted up, plants, and new border that I put a load of compost down on, it has popped up with loads of weeds, which is not ideal. Shouldn't take too long. I just want to get on top of it. I also want to close down that bed that I talked about yesterday. The raised bed, close that down. Just sort of get ready for a little bit of winter. Winter is coming, as we now know. Bulb advice. I'll put 3 inches of chicken manure in raised beds and 4 inches of compost. Can you plant bulbs in deep manure? Novice bulb guy. Oof. 3 inches. Well, I'd probably put the bulbs down further anyway than 3 inches. So you should be okay. I'll tell you what. See, I'm a bit of a... you'll notice, Dan, when you get my book, I don't really talk about putting seeds in that an actual measurement. I feel like measurements are restricting, and I'm a bit of a rule breaker. I'm not really like the rules of gardening. If Titchmarsh tells me to do something, I say, not today. Not on my watch, Titchmarsh. So I don't really think 3 inches is I don't think it's one. I don't really think it's deep enough, but also I don't really measure when I put mine in. They still pop up and they still look wicked. I wouldn't put them. Breaking news from Sean. I wouldn't put them directly against manure. It could burn them depending on how fresh the manure is. I would put manure on top in February. says Sean for the bulbs. I'll be honest with you. I don't think they really. It depends on your soil. It does depend on your soil as well. I suppose, Dan, with your bulbs. If you've got terrible soil, then I get the manure. But yeah, I think Sean's right. Whack the manure on top. But interesting that he says could burn them. I've not heard of that for bulbs before. If you put it straight on top, I suppose it makes a little bit of sense. But there we go. I bought frilly knickers today, known as Animal Known. How many rum and cokes you had? Wait, right. I'm guessing because of Dan saying, "What start to the show, guys?" Everyone's in the comments tonight. Everyone's in the comments. Anemone. Let me check. This is not going to take me to somewhere naughty. Nan. Right, sort of show. Ane. 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 You guys might know instantly that I've never heard. Are they called frilly knickers? I've never heard them be called that. What is? Are you not calling about your frilly knickers, are you?
Anemones.
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 That makes. I've never heard them be called frilly knickers before.
Thank you for using the Sean Cameron pronunciation service. Goodbye.
Bye. That is. That's actually the second time we've had to use that service in the past 4 weeks. The past 4 weeks of doing this, we've done 32 hours of content. Wowza. Anemones. That is actually a decent. I mean, Sean, if you sit there and just go through the whole gardener book, that could actually be a product right there. I'd use it. Anemones, also known as frilly knicker. Never heard that before, but thanks very much. Kelly's writing later on. It's true. I'm not disbelieving you. Got a question. Do we need to cover the garlic? The planted. What? The children planted last week. Do we need to cover the garlic the children planted last week? Do we need to cover it? So you're gonna have to. Can you put more detail on what you mean by covering? Can you put a bit more detail in there, please, my friend? At the same time, put some manure on the rhubarb in February. Put manure wherever you can in Feb. It seems. Did you watch Dimmock on Garden Rescue this afternoon? No. Telling how good artificial grass is. What? What? Dimmock? What? What? We wanted Dimmock on the show. Dimmock was the person we wanted, and now she's gone and said how great artificial grass is. What was she saying? Why was she saying it? Dimmock letting us down. Not on the artificial grass. Come on. Come on. Huh? The BBC used to have a department where production staff could phone to find out how they say words. It was an actual thing. Who knew? You said we were going to get frost soon. I thought we were going to get frost last night. I don't know why you listened to me, Stu. To answer your question quite instantly, no. They need a cold snap to create clothes, says Mr. Suggett. So yeah, don't cover them. Don't worry about it. I honestly thought it was cold enough last night. It's not as cold tonight. I'll be honest with you, it's not as cold here in Essex tonight. So maybe I was peaking a little. Susan. That's not like me, is it? It's not. It is. Yeah, it is like me. You're right. You're right. Now, I didn't buy them tulip bulbs the other day, which I told you to remind me, and no one reminded me. So thanks for that. So tomorrow, I need to go and get some tulips. I really wanted to get them from Farmer Gracie because they sent me a load. Was it last year? Maybe the year before. I probably don't need that many. I literally got about 500. That was too many, really. So I probably got loads popping up, or I just don't know where they're going to pop up yet. That's the biggest mystery here at the SJG HQ. But I want to get a few more. I've got a few pots I want to put outside the front, get them in now, and then, like I said, Olive absolutely loves watching them. It's a good one for and that's also why I don't really listen to instructions, because Olive doesn't listen to them. My daughter, so I mean, Callie and Dan, you know what goes on there. They don't listen, do they? They just chuck them in, and I just go along with it, and it seems to work. So, how did you learn gardening? Well, I just let my 5-year-old get on with it. Really, just get on with it. All my tomatoes. Well, here we go. Here's some news for you. All my tomatoes have died overnight. Was it that cold out last night? Well, there you go, everyone. No one believed me that it was cold last night, did they? Everyone was like, oh, no, Lee, it's not cold enough yet. It's not cold enough for frost. Well, Ray has lost his tomatoes because it was too cold. Now what you saying? Will Vince know if a bulb's coming up out the lawn and go round it? No. Oh, crikey, I've just fallen. It's collapsed here. Studio's just collapsed. No, so I don't put bulbs in the lawn. I put them in the borders. One thing that you can do, and one thing that I'm going to do with... I can't remember who I was talking to this about the other day. Was I talking? I can't remember who I was talking about this. But one thing I'm going to do is have a wildflower section in the garden. I've got to decide tomorrow where I want it. And the thing is with, hey guys, get a robotic lawnmower. There's a wire that goes around the garden. And basically, if I don't want Vince to run over a certain area, I have to go round that area with the wire, so he'll just miss it. So you can't go around individual bulbs. That would be pretty impossible. Is that how you learnt to swim? You just chucked her in? Olive, is that how Olive learnt to swim? You just chucked her in? We can't really go into that, but pretty much. Bless her. Oh, we ain't been swimming together for ages. We need to go swimming again. We need to. It's been a long time since we've gone swimming together. We need to get that sorted. But something like that, Sean. Something like that. That's how it works in the Connie household over here. So yeah, I'm going to put them wildflower seeds in now. I'll give them a little bit of an early start next year, and we'll get a little bit of head start on that. Sean says, the Sean 2 or Sean 1, kids go garden them. We're going to plant loads in the grass this year, bit of an experiment. Well, I think it's pretty good. The thing is, if you know where they are, then it's perfect. Because if you've got a lawnmower that has not got its own mind, then it's fine. You can sort of just go round them. And I've seen a lot of people, especially recently, cut their lawn and missing areas and keeping it overgrown, which is really great for wildlife and to bring them in. So I think it's a great idea in that sense. But if you have got a lawnmower that's got its own mind, it's not ideal. It's not ideal. Just think about it. Do I really need to... I mean, now is the sort of time you should really be shutting down Vince and putting him away for winter. Do I really need to cut the whole lawn? Maybe I should leave a little bit. Maybe I should just do a path down to the end of the garden. More worrying than anything is before we... Oh, here we go. Here we go. This is not good. How do I show this picture without showing you all my emails? Oh, here we go. Was that going? Aha! Yes. Okay, right. Before we go into the first ad break of tonight. Is that a half hour already? Wowza. Earlier on tonight in the comments in the show, what has happened here? You guys can't see this picture yet. It's got two people that are already banned from the show. They're gutted about it. I bet every night they sit up and think they're not really that banned. Sit up and think, why? Why don't we just say yes? This has been sent in by one of our loyal fans, Sean James Cameron, also our GOAT correspondent. He has sent this picture into the show, which, as you can see, is... Oh, I didn't know we could do that. Is Charlie Dimmock with these two guys. I think they're called the Rich Brothers. I think that's what they're called. Putting down our official lawn. Now, I wish that we could somehow get the actual footage of this up, because what is quoted, I don't know how Sean got hold of this. What is quoted is, "It's great. I love the shaggy look." Now, unless there was a massive problem, I'm trying to look at the photo now up close, because I can't work out why they would do that in that garden. I don't get it. I don't understand it. Is this photo been adopted? Look. Is this green screen? Is this real photo? Is this fake news? I feel like this could be fake news, guys. Look. Look at it. Here we go. Look. You see that? Look at that. That broom is fake news. I can't believe that. With a bit of background knowledge, Ian, who watched it, said it was for the kids to play on. I mean, it feels like we did that 2 hours of artificial chat for nothing, doesn't it? Unbelievable. We're gonna have to get them on. We're gonna have to after later on in the show. Sean's gonna get the footage for us, and we're gonna look over that footage in real detail. But after this ad break, we have got an awesome interview coming up, which I'm very excited about, with George Lamb. So let's go to an ad break, and then I'll chat to you. Hey, what's going on? This stream and the podcast is sponsored by Flymo. Flymo, your life easy. My nan absolutely loves Flymo, and she was the one that first introduced me to Flymo, the brand Flymo, way back when I first got my new home, because she used Flymo in her garden. Then she bought my mum and dad a Flymo when they got their garden, and then when I got my garden, my nan bought me a Flymo. It's been in the family for years. Absolutely love it. They're such a great product. They're quality, they're affordable, and they think about how to make it easy for you to go cut the lawn, cut those edges, and do those gardening tasks. So flymo.com if you want to get your hands on some of their products, plus spend over £45, and you, yes you, dear listener, can get free delivery. Oh! Go check it out now, flymo.com. The Skinny Jean Gardener, How to Get Kids Gardening book. It's available right now. That's right, in all good... Well, I'm on Amazon mainly, to be honest with you. On amazon.co.uk or .com, wherever you're in the world. Amazon. How to Get Kids Gardening is available right now. It's a $9.99. Oh yes. My self-published work, $9.99. Let's have a little flick to see what you could be doing. You could be making this. Wildflower seed balls. My favourite gardening make. A little bit messy for the kids, but brings some incredible colour to the garden. There's over 30 gardening makes inside this book that you can do with the family to get outside and enjoy whatever space you've got. Amazon.co.uk. How to get kids gardening. Would you like to sponsor and support this stream? Yes, you. Not you, but you. Yes, you. Have you got a product or service you'd like to advertise? Then this is the space for you. You get yours truly to advertise your product in a very, very unique way. Thanks very much. Plus, get it put in front of literally tens and tens of people. There's at least 12 people watching right now, probably more, probably. If you want to get your product or service in front of them, then this is the place to be. Free advert, a show, plus we'll talk about it a little bit after each advert, no doubt. That's free, that's 4 times a week, that's 12 times, guys, 12 times. If you want to get involved, if you want to support the show, it's not as expensive as you think, guys, it's not expensive as you think. Lee at skinnyjeangardener.co.uk. Okay, over the past couple of weeks, we've been using this platform, using this amazing. I must stop doing that. This amazing platform that we've got that we do every single night, at least 4 nights a week, to talk about kids gardening, and it's really moving on the conversation. It's really making things go behind the scenes quick, like things are happening fast. A little bit like I want to pull the brake on it. Just slow things down a little bit. Calm down. I mean, not too calm, because I know I can be too calm with it. But all about getting kids gardening and getting primary schools out there and making it easy for teachers to get involved. Now, a couple of years ago, I bumped into, is the only word I can say, George Lamb. You may know George Lamb from telly. He's about in my day when I used to watch him on the old telly box. I met him at Chelsea Flower Show, of all places, for about 30 seconds because, embarrassingly, I got a little bit starstruck and panicked and run away is the main thing. But the reason that I've got back in touch with him, I did apologise. I don't know if it's in this interview. The reason I got back in touch with him is because he's doing an amazing thing at a school in London called Grow, which is I'm so excited about. When I saw him pop up, I said to my wife, I was like, "You're not going to believe what George Lamb is up to. He's literally doing what I want to do, but with secondary schools." This is a fascinating interview, which I haven't brought out for about 2 weeks, but you may have seen me reference it a few times. So I've been really excited to actually get this out on the show and get you guys talking about it. Now, generally, when we put an interview up on the show, no one comments in the comments. So if you hear something that you want to note, we want to talk about after, because we're going to talk about this after the interview all the way up till 10 o'clock, then write it in the notes, because I'll go through the comments afterwards and we'll talk about each comment as we go along. So get commenting, let me know what you think. George Lamb interview coming right up, he says. I need to get someone in the studio. Coming right up, guys.
When I found out that you were doing this,
Yeah.
I was shocked. Like I'd never realised it was anything that was on your radar beforehand.
Yeah.
So what got you into it in the first place?
I mean, my mum's a gardener, and was always a kind of keen hobby gardener. And then about 10 years ago, moved down to the countryside, and I was doing quite well on television, and I was like, get yourself a nice house, Mum. Like, let's have like a beautiful place to retire. And she found this old kind of like tatty old cottage in the middle of nowhere, which got incredible vision, my mum, and she was just like, it's going to be like this, and then that's how the garden's going to come down, and this bit's going to sweep round here and create this amazing thing with a dingly. And I was like, really? Okay, cool. And so for the last 10 years, that's been her main focus, is creating this incredible garden. It's now part of the National Garden Scheme, and she does open gardens, and they raise money for the church and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And so it's certainly, I've been around it the last kind of 10 years or so. We have a kind of running, so like in my, journey of self-discovery, I've ended up taking quite a lot of plant medicine. And every time I go off to to go and do some plant medicine ceremony, she'd be like, cool, why don't you just grow a garden, man? Like, it's the same thing, And I'm like, no, Mum, you don't understand. I have to go to the Amazon and drink this potion. She's like, cool, mate. And yeah, I suppose kind of really like, very potted history. 10 years ago, I'm on television, everything's going great. Running this whole narrative that when I get to X, which is primetime television, then I'll be really happy. I was doing mainly kind of youth stuff and Saturday morning stuff and all the rest of it. Finally got into primetime television. Obviously, it doesn't make any difference what time of day you're on television. It's all the same thing. And just wasn't really feeling fulfilled, and was feeling a little bit kind of anxious about society and where we were going and where we headed and what my contribution to that was. And frankly, at that point, I was making kind of game shows, and none of the well, I don't know, none's maybe a sweeping statement, but it's my opinion that not many of the main kind of decision makers in the world are sitting at home watching game shows. Game shows primarily is distraction for poor people. When you're watching the world go and you're kind of complicit in selling distractions to everybody, it doesn't feel very good,
Yeah.
And so then I kind of recognized that I needed to, I needed to do some stuff, and I needed to help, and I needed to be part of the solution. And I kind of radically changed my life, and said to my agent, I'm not going on telly for a bit, and I'm going to sell my house, and I'm going to get rid of my team, and I'm just going to go and figure out who I am and what's important to me. And I did a lot of community work in the middle of all of that, and felt, if I'm honest, quite frustrated quite quickly. Seemingly, metaphorically speaking, there's a kind of endless stream of half-dead bodies that you can pull out the river and put a blanket on and give a cup of tea to, and you turn around, there's another 5,000. And so what you realise is, of course, there's merit in standing there looking after people, but it's not my kind of makeup, and I want to figure out solutions. So I want to go upstream and figure out what the problem is at source. And, we have a lot of kind of fundamental structural issues with our system, which means that there's an endless, kind of supply of people who are getting over, basically. And so I was doing all this community stuff, realizing that actually it's very hard with adults, short of the building being on fire, it's very hard to get adults to go in the same direction at the same time. So then, kids are obviously the solution. If you can turn a kid into a jihadi, you can turn a kid into a light warrior. You just need to feed them with the right stuff. And that's my dog, Waldo. I don't know if you can see him. Anyway, and so I kind of knew I wanted to get into education. And then a mate of mine had written a book. He wrote books primarily on plant medicine, and said to me, I'm coming to London. Would you interview me? Would you do the Q&A with me, kind of thing? I said, yeah, no problem. Send the book over, thinking it was just going to be another one on a kind of similar vein. And it turns out it was called How Soon Is Now, which was about the ecological mega crisis, which obviously now everybody's, fully up to speed with. But 3 years ago, you had to be a kind of climate enthusiast to be across it,
Yeah.
And for whatever reason, all the kind of information that I was so easy to kind of bat away, on the news or newspapers or whatever, just all of a sudden just kind of landed with me, and I was like, oh no, like if we don't radically change our behaviour, we're finished, and frankly, everything else is kind of arbitrary. And then when you're also kind of getting frustrated with the fact of like, how are you ever going to bring these two kind of like, warring parties together when you look all over the world with all these different conflicts? You're like, there's only one real kind of irrefutable thing that joins everybody, and that's we're all dependent on the well-being of Earth, the Earth, So then I'm like, hang on a minute, maybe long shot. This is the one kind of unifying thing. So I was like, right, we need to raise the environmental literacy of all the kids in the country. I was like, we need to set up Jedi training camps.
Yeah.
to make eco warriors, but they won't even know they're eco warriors because it will just be the default setting, you know. So I rang my mate, who's a headmaster of a big comprehensive up in North London, and started, you know, babbling away on the phone. He's like, "All right, mate, why don't you come and see me, and then we'll have a talk about it." Anyway, I went up there. He really liked the idea, and he said, as it happens, that the school that we're involved with is called the Totteridge Academy. It's right at the end of the Northern Line, so right at the kind of top end of London, just as you're getting into Greenbelt territory. And he's like, we've got a 6-acre field sitting out the back, and we were going to do an AstroTurf on it, but we never had the money, so it's been sitting there dormant for 10 years. You can have it, you know.
Oh.
So, right, fantastic. Here we go. This is it, you know. And then I'm stood in my 6-acre field, and I'm like, I've never grown a carrot in my life, you know what I mean? I've never grown anything. They never managed to keep a plant alive. Knew absolutely nothing about kind of environmental studies, you know, and I was like, cool. So better go and cram up quite quickly, you know. And I went around and talked to anybody who talked to me who worked in outdoor education, and pretty much across the board, they all said, look, if you really want this thing to work, don't make it 100% around just growing vegetables, you know, because some people get turned on by that, and some people just, it's not their thing, you know. Really, if I was going to do my thing differently, I'd take a kind of 360 holistic approach to the well-being of the child. The project that I set up is called Grow. We teach, we're piloting up at this big comprehensive in North London. It's an academy now, but it was in a comprehensive for 50 years. We teach as part of the curriculum, years 7, 8, and 9, which are the first 3 years of secondary school. We get an hour a week with them, and that's a kind of shop window to get our curriculum in front of them. And then if you like that, we do after school stuff and weekend stuff, and you know, extracurricular. And so Grow over the course of the last year or so has kind of shape-shifted various times, but I think we've kind of settled on it now. And so we've broken it into, there's 4 kind of modules. That's 5. There's 4 modules. The first one is Ground, which, as the name would suggest, is about food growing and looking after animals and getting outside and environmentalism and forest school and all that good stuff that you know, that's what you do for a living. And then we have Flow, which is all about getting into flow state, into your highest vibration. So, you know, breath work, yoga, mindfulness, you know, just really getting yourself in touch, getting in touch with yourself, really. So you give yourself kind of solid foundations. And then we got Think. So unfortunately, a lot of the, because of the focus on getting kids through exams, a lot of the creativity and the critical thinking is knocked out of them.
Right.
So they're always looking for a kind of linear route to the right answer, and they're petrified of being wrong. And they're always looking for this A plus B equals C thing. And so what we've done is we're working with the British Philosophical Society, and we go in there and we get them to have philosophical debates. And so it's what you think and what you feel, and there is no right and there's no wrong. And, you know, you get used to talking to each other and building on each other's ideas. And the next thing you know, clack, 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 you know, A plus B equals Z minus 1, you know, P, X, Y, you know. And it's amazing to watch the kids, you know, really, really, you know, watching their imaginations go wild, you know. And it's quite, I mean, it's also slightly depressing. Like when we've done it with older kids in the school, they really struggled. And when we do it with the year 7s, they're like, oh, and then this happened, and then that happened, and then the bird became a tree, which was also a truck, you know, and you know. So it just shows you what's going on in our education system, you know. And we're at a good school run by amazing teachers, and yet, unfortunately, because of what they're having to conform to by way of a kind of curriculum, in the end, it kind of beats a lot of the, you know, critical creative thinking, as I say, out the kids. And then finally, the final module is Thrive. And so essentially, Ground, Flow, Think is what you're doing. And then you take all of your learning in that, and then you go and put it into your own life, and you join one of our clubs, whether that's a YouTube club or a gardening club or a boxing club or whatever, and that's the Thrive section. So that's you taking what you've learned and going out into the real world with it.
Taking control of it.
And that's it, mate.
Okay.
You know?
Did you literally just start it and then that sort of come from it? Was it just like to begin with, just growing and then?
So when I originally put it to the headmaster, it was a kind of eco warrior training camp is what it was, and then as I say, when I went and talked to a bunch of people who literally just work in kind of environmental studies and outdoor learning with kids and predominantly folks around growing, they were like, look, man, just broaden this thing out, find a route into the kids. And that's what I guess I've learned the most in the last year or so. Unfortunately, the system, and it's easy, caveat all of this, it's easy for me to say this. I've only been in it, a couple of years, and we're only doing it on a small level. So, and I'm sure there's a lot of kind of systemic, what's the right word? Like there's a bunch of stuff that means it's very difficult when you start doing things at scale. But what I've learned, I think, is you need to figure out what the kids want to do and then try and weave your agenda into it, rather than getting the kids, pacifying them, subjugating them, and then trying to push your agenda onto them, because already by then their eyes are rolling and they don't really care, So, for example, if I go to a lot of the kind of, schools the same as when you and I were at it, if you can get the older kind of cooler kids into something, then a lot of the younger ones will follow. So if I go to the older kind of cooler kids and say, do you want to do some yoga and some gardening and some breath work and all the rest of it? Like, right, mate, however, if I go to them and say, do you want to join our boxing academy? They're like, yes, I'm there. What you got for me? And then, of course, when they're doing their boxing program, they have to do a nutrition module. Okay, so they have to come out on the field and see how things are grown. Oh, hang on a minute, you're doing some gardening. Then we do a sports psychology, section. So it's all about visualization, manifestation, focusing on the win. We're going to do some breath work. We're going to do some meditation. Oh, hang on a minute, you're meditating. So we're getting into your flow. And then we'll do like sports science, so learning different ways of the anatomy work. So let's have a look. We'll do some yoga, maybe we'll try that out. Here's Anthony Joshua doing some yoga. Here's Conor McGregor doing animal flow and calisthenics. So you get them all. So you just have to be smart about how you weave your thing in. Basically.
Yeah. How many of you are at that school doing this?
There's probably in our kind of core team, there's probably, I think there's 5 of us or 6 of us, across part-time and full-time. And then there's probably the same again in facilitators and coaches and, volunteers. And we've got a couple of apprentices we've just taken on as well, which is great. So, probably all told, if we had a Christmas party, there'd probably be about 15 of us, I'd imagine.
Okay. And so is the idea that this is going to be rolled out at like all schools in the future?
That's the plan, definitely. Yeah. So if we can get it right here, the truth is, whilst everybody can see the merit in what we're doing, big scale systems really run on data. So we need to show metrics that this improves the stuff that they're really worried about, and stuff that can't be perceived as being soft skills, really. Which is what a lot of this would come under. So if we can show that with kids who are involved in Grow, their attendance is better, their behaviour is better, their overall scores go up on their exams, so on and so forth. If we can hit all of that, then for sure the Department for Education will be like, irrespective of what somebody's driver is as to why they want it, I couldn't care less. So if that's what they're interested in, and I can prove that, they'll take Grow, and they'll run with it. So that's essentially what we're trying to do.
How are you funding it at the moment?
Sorry, mate, you just cracked out there. So
How are you funding this at the moment?
Beg, borrowing, and stealing. So I remortgaged my house to put a load of money up at the beginning so we could kind of get going. Had some really, really incredible donors, come and supported us and helped us. Mayor of London's got behind us, and we did a crowdfunding thing where so a lot of community could get behind us as well, and then as we're just kind of converting into a fully fledged charity and now under our own steam at the moment, which means we'll be will be able to get hold of, you know, kind of grants and you know, trusts and all the rest of it. So yeah, it's, you know, basically you got to try and keep it going for a few years until you can get a bit of profile and you can establish yourself. And then those great big pots of money from, you know, the National Lottery and Comic Relief and you know, big institutions like the Wellcome Trust and the Esme Fairbairn thing, they then can see, okay, these guys are legit and they're doing something good and they're here to stay and we'll support them. You know, there is quite a lot of money out in the system. You've got to stick around for a few years. That's the truth.
Like show you like a flash in the pan.
Yeah. Can you send some money over? You know.
Yeah. What you mean? The parents must like obviously see the difference from their kids. So they're like community-wise, like you must get a lot of support now.
Yeah,
you're sort of in the school.
Definitely, yeah. I mean, like all summer we ran. We had a on a Wednesday we'd send so free school meals were running a lot over the summer at schools. Some schools were giving out vouchers so the parents could go to the supermarket and grab some bits. Some schools were giving out food packages. Our school was doing both. And so we were supplying a lot of vegetables to the school canteen and that was going out to the kids, which was great. And of course the kids and the parents would come in every week and we'd see them and have a nice chat and build a really lovely relationship with them. And then also we'd have a like a farm sale every week selling produce. And you know, I'm not going to tell you there was like 100 people, you know, lining up down the street, but you know, every week, different parents, different kids, everybody coming back, come and have a look around the field, you know, play with the chickens, or I don't know how you play with chickens, but you know, interact with the chickens, and yeah, and it was lovely, you know, and you definitely feel it. You feel, you know, like anything in life, you know, there's no, you know, I haven't got a kind of like a badge or anything or an absolute marker that can tell me this is definitely happening, but you feel things, you know, and you can feel when I've been around long enough to know when something's happening or something's not happening, you know, and this is definitely happening, you know, and you can feel it.
Have you had any like pushback from like teachers and that? Because one thing I've found doing what I do is you'll always get like the teachers that are like bang into it and all over it and love it, and then there'll always be ones that stand at the back and sort of a little bit like, what's going on here? Yeah,
I mean, as with anything in life, you know, there's always people who are asleep, you know, and or people who think differently. And I think we've got a finite amount of energy, and you know, I think you just have to concentrate on the ones who've got their eyes open and can see what it is, you know. And if the other ones want to come with us, then great. And if they don't, you know, that's also their prerogative. You know, I had this kind of funny little moment a month or so ago. Just so we've got our field and then another big field, and then there's a great big estate called Dollis Valley, which is where most of our kids come from. And we went on to Dollis Valley, and there's a thing called the Rainbow Centre there, which is an amazing, you know, kind of community centre that they're doing their best to defund and smash to bits. But anyway, that's another story. Anyway, so we took the kids. We were going to take the kids up to the farm. And spend the afternoon there, and I went and got a group of these kids, and we're walking out across the field, which is literally 100 meters from where all of them live, right? And I'm like, do you guys come out here? Oh no, we don't come out here. No. There's you know, drug dealers, and we're not drug. There's like homeless, you know, drug addicts or whatever living out here. And I was like, wow, okay. And you know, like beautiful hit, you know, kind of rolling fields that go on into the countryside. It's so nice. Anyway, and in order for us to get to our field, you have to go over like a tiny little brook, like a tiny little stream kind of thing, yeah. And it's the middle of summer, so the water's not high, and they've got kind of stepping stones going through it. I'd say it was probably like 6 on 10 for difficulty, this thing, yeah. And we get to it, and you know, there's like a 65-year-old lady in our group who's got hip problems. There's tiny little kids, you know, like, and everybody's like, we got this. And one girl just started it. Do you know what I mean? She's like, I don't want to go there. I'm not going through that. I'm not having this. And at the beginning, I was kind of entertaining it, and I was just like, hey, calm down, don't worry, and everything's going to be okay, and we'll find a solution. And she just kept on and kept on. And I just thought, you know what? Some people are going to get left on the other side of the stream, man. Like, that's how it is.
Yeah.
I haven't got time for this. This is already difficult enough as it is, you know. So
try and sort it out.
I just walked over into the middle of the stream, helped everybody across. She was the last one. I was like, you can come if you want, and if you don't want to come, you live just there, so just walk home, you know. And of course, she was like, oh yeah, no, I'll come. You know, and then she came across and she had the best day. And afterwards, she was like, sorry about earlier, and you know. So, you know, I think of course you have to respect everybody's different, and you have to try to bring everybody to the table, and you have to do it with love and compassion and all the rest of it. But you also have to accept that some people are stuck in their narrative, and you know, as I say, you know, we're on a bit of a, you know, we're on a clock here. You know, if we don't sort this out, you know, then we're all finished. So there's only so much, you know, there is going to be some collateral damage, I suppose, is the kind of callous way of looking at it.
Yeah, it waste a lot of time if not, I suppose.
Yeah,
which is the thing. Like at the moment, obviously because of like COVID and that seems to like just run over it pretty. You know, has that been a struggle to do stuff still? Or you still been able to make it happen?
I mean, the truth is we haven't had any kids around, or haven't had many kids around for the summer.
Yeah.
Which has obviously been a bit weird because doing a kids program with no kids is slightly abstract. We've been doing some stuff online with a lot of kids. As I say, we had some kind of like contact points when they've been coming in with their families to come to pick up the, you know, free school meals or you know, get some stuff from the shop. But also the flip side of that is we've had 6 months to like smash it out and get the farm in great shape, and not been focusing on teaching, but actually been focusing on doing. And now, you know, from literally a kind of barren field 6 months ago, we've got like a fully fledged community garden. So
amazing.
Yeah, you know, there's swings and roundabouts. And also, I think kind of longer term, if you're pushing a kind of alternative narrative that people need to get outside and get in touch with the nature and you know, take your foot off the gas a bit, then, you know, global pandemics maybe, you know, not the worst thing to, you know, kind of back up your argument.
Well, it's definitely boosted that that side of things, isn't it?
Yeah.
6 weeks holiday. So during the 6 weeks holiday, do you manage to use the farm when the kids aren't at school?
Yeah, so we our land is kind of adjacent to the school,
right?
So you can access it without being in the school. So yeah, we were there. So the idea is 9 till 3 during term time. It's a school facility, so it's for our school and other primary schools in the borough.
Right.
Or anybody who wants to come, any schools that want to come to it, basically. And then outside of that, so outside of term hours, it's a community project.
Okay. Right. So have you had any other schools come yet, or?
We've had primary schools come up, yeah, and we're just in the process of doing a bid with John Lyons, which is a really amazing charitable trust, basically, who give grants, and we're doing a project with our 4 main feeder schools. So if we get that, we'll know in November if we get that, and then that'll mean we've got a 3-year kind of firm funded project of getting the kids up to school, and
that make it easier to concentrate on the other stuff.
Yeah.
If it was to be replicated elsewhere, would you have to do that? Would you have to have this like away from the school, so the school come to it, or would it be on the school grounds?
I think so. I don't need to tell you this, but like, it's amazing what you can grow on 10 by 15 meters, for example, if you know what you're doing. You know what I mean? You can probably do most of the vegetables for a school on something like that, you know? So you don't need acres and acres and acres of land. So if you're a school with a bit of, you know, green, chances are we could probably, you know, and there's a lot of dead zones in schools, there's a lot of roof space, you know, if you're creative with it, you can probably figure out a way to use that land. If you're talking about like real inner city schools where they've literally got like a small tarmac, you know, playground, I suppose long term what we'll do is we'll work with councils and we'll work with property developers who are, you know, endlessly trying to kind of greenwash and make themselves look good, and create kind of like central urban hubs where you can like you could stick one in the middle of 5 schools and everybody can use it basically. So community farm from that perspective. Obviously, with our curriculum, you don't there's 3. I don't know why I keep putting up the wrong amount of fingers. Obviously, quite early. There's 3 different modules. So you've got ground, you've got flow, you've got think. There's a lot you can do. There's a lot you can do without having any outside space at all. And for example, the last couple of weeks, we've actually even been doing our ground module inside one of the classrooms or just out the back of one of the classrooms. So it's all doable. It's just about whether there's a will there and if you want to make it work. As we know, like literally anything is possible.
Yeah, definitely. Are you just concentrating on secondary, or are you doing primary as well?
So there's a lot of. I mean, this is a sweeping statement from someone who's been in education all of 2 years. When I looked around, there's a hell of a lot of stuff going on in the primary scene. Yeah. So there's loads of kids, even just from when we started to now. Like the amount of year 7s now who come and go like, oh, we grew vegetables at our primary school. We did some yoga. We did some breath, mindfulness or whatever. And so there seems to be a level of literacy and all the stuff we're interested in primary schools. And then what happens is they come out of the primary school, they go into this, exam factory thing. And then gradually over the course of the next couple of years, all of that good stuff kind of just gets pushed to the side because unfortunately the only, metrics that will see the school get more funding the next year are getting these exam results. Yeah. And then it kind of wanes. So I suppose what I want us to do is set up a program so that when these kids turn up in year 7 and if they've had experience of all this good stuff, we can get hold of it and go like, right, come on, let's ramp it up.
Yeah, that makes sense. Because the reason I ask is because one of the so I've been thinking a lot this year about what to do with primary schools because they do a lot there, but it usually always tilts on that one teacher, and if that teacher leaves and that school doesn't do it, and I've been really I don't want to just come up with another because there's loads of there. You're right. There's loads of bits for primary schools, RHS and all different sorts of organisations that are all chucking their stuff at schools, but nothing brings anyone together. So sometimes it feels like I don't know. Sometimes if you might feel like this from other bits, but sometimes it feels like people want to be the hero of stories. Yeah, and actually the kids get lost in that because they want to. These like brand stuff, like when I did stuff with M&S at the start of the year, it was great because we got kids excited, but they were like the hero of the story, and then they were like, "See you later," and that was it. So I don't want to just chuck in like another organisation to get it going. So it's a difficult.
Yeah, I mean, my thoughts on that are how I suppose the first time I got involved with cool, like with like interesting education stuff, was with an organisation called Independent Thinking.
Right.
I think they're called Independent Thinking. I'll double check that afterwards. It's a group of teachers who are doing things differently, who all just kind of made this kind of loose association. And then the idea is you're in a community, you can share ideas, and once every 6 weeks, one of the schools does an open day, and you can go round as a member of Independent Thinking and have a kind of, be able to go around and see what's going on in that school. And that way you're able to just amplify and shortcut loads of cool stuff and join up. So I definitely think that there needs to be a kind of, not a governing body per se, but a kind of like a kind of community hub. And that doesn't necessarily mean to have to be a physical community hub. I meant more kind of metaphorically speaking, where you're like the kind of association of, green stuff in primary schools or whatever it is, like you'll have to find a better name than that. And then whether or not the school is implementing the innocent smoothie growing, program, or the M&S one, or the RHS one, or the whatever, you guys are all there to say, right, come on, let's create some kind of coherent organisation in the middle of this where we can see what everybody's doing, share ideas, not make the same mistakes, not double up, you know. And I definitely think there's space for that, and it needs it, you know, because otherwise, as you say, it's just a bunch of disparate people all coming in, all thinking they kind of like they're coming to save the day, or they know better than the next person, and as you say, it's very reliant on the individual. So that person then falls out of the loop, and then they start the program, and then it all just kind of dwindles off, and then there's a load of half dead plants there, kind of thing, you know. And the kids are like, "Oh, is that how you look at it? It's almost better you don't do anything rather than do that," you know.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think there's definitely space, you know, and I'd be super up for, you know, helping in any way we can to try and create this kind of union of people who have a vested interest in horticulture in schools, you know.
Yeah, definitely. How is your horticulture knowledge now, mate?
Absolute rubbish, mate. It's funny, you know, that and it's a pattern in my life. It's not just, you know, it's here, you know, the same things obviously just, you know, showing themselves up again. But I like having an idea, trying to figure out how you can deliver that idea. And then I always just kind of scoot around the edges of it when it's really kind of running, you know. So I'm there, like, you know, I was getting all the cooch out, I was digging all the beds, I was making sure everything had come from wicks. I was, you know, like, you know, lumping all the mud around, or, you know, the you know, whatever, just like, you know, anything. I'll, you know, lump it around. I'll deliver all the vegetables. I'll do, you know, I'll put the tent up where we cover ourselves from the rain. But for some reason, I haven't, you know, totally got the, you know, like I still haven't grown anything myself completely from seed.
Don't panic. I'm not going to do my top 10 questions in gardening for you. Then yeah. people like you are important though to bring it together, because, you know, I know loads of people in horticulture, but without ideas people and people to actually make it happen, it just wouldn't happen. Yeah. Where can everyone find out more about this dude? www.wearegrow.org. Awesome. Is at wearegrow and loads of underscores. Awesome. Thanks so much, dude, for coming on the podcast. Wicked, man. Thank you for having me. And as and when you're coming to London, man, we'd love to have you up to the school. And if you want to knock heads about how we could create some kind of it's not even a governing body, but just some kind of way of some way of holding the space and everybody come and share ideas. Definitely check out that independent thinking as well. They're really cool. Even they're really cool just to be part of that and go and see some schools and see how people are doing things differently. It's wicked. Yeah, well, it's fun because it's funny you say that about the because when I did this tour, we were obviously getting all the pots and getting the kids gardening, and then they showed me around the schools afterwards, and they were showing me all the other campaigns with the dead plants, and I was like, great, right, see you later. We did a documentary on it, and literally by the end it was like, I feel like I'm part of the problem. Yeah. And so yeah, that's the thing, you've got to sort of yeah, but you know what, it's all that's how we learn, man, you know. And you know, and there's so many good intentioned people, you know, like things are successful, I think, because of systems, you know, like that's how you make things successful. And you can have loads of good ideas and you can have loads of energy and you can have loads of goodwill and all the rest of it. But if you don't put the right systems in there, it all just kind of like in the end, you know. And like that kind of rigor and organization and all the rest of it, and it's dull, and you know, and you're like, oh god, is everything, you know, but like that's what makes things function smoothly, you know. Yeah. And so, you know, you've now had first-hand experience of this thing, and now you can step back from it and go, right, like I see the landscape, I can see the pitfalls. You should get in touch with half a dozen other people who've done other things and go like, tell me the best bits about what you did and the worst bits about what you did, which is exactly what I did with Grow, you know. Yeah. And then go, okay, let's all agree that this is the kind of, you know, this is the, you know, roughly speaking, this is the kind of journey of how these things should work from beginning to end. And then let's be a resource and let's help people. So when the next bunch of well-intentioned
well-meaning, well-funded, whatever group of people come to try and do something, you can say, look, our cumulative experience suggests that this is the way to go, and we can help you and we can hold your hand through this. And really also what's interesting is if you had, and it doesn't cost a lot because you can get universities to do it. If you measure the data if you can give impact reports to how these things have really affected kids, and you just show them a few, like you show them the Marks and Spencer's one and go, in the end, it didn't really do anything, that people will start listening.
Yeah.
That's what people, like anecdotally, like, oh, it didn't work so great. Nobody cares about that. Like proper, robust data that goes like, look, this is where it went wrong. This is how, and we've talked about it, and this is our, response, and this is how it can be better. Then shit will change,
This stream and the podcast are sponsored by Flymo, flymo.com. I'm going to tell you a little story about Vince. Vince came into my home and basically took over not all, but the biggest gardening task, which, I'll be honest with you, took a little bit of time because usually I'm away. I'm jet setting from Birmingham to Devon, all over the country, which means that when I come home, the first task I've got to do is my lawn. Now, Vince came along and we welcomed him to the family, and now I feel like he's taken over my position in this household, which is not good. Vince, I should add, is my robotic lawnmower. Oh yes, Flymo's robotic lawnmower. Literally, you set it up, there's an app on your phone, you set it up, and every day, all week, however you want to do it, Vince, or the robotic, you can call it what you want, but ours is called Vince, goes out and cuts your lawn. Oh, made so simple. Go check it out right now at flymo.com. Spend over 45 quid, you get free delivery. You can't say better than that, can ya? So yeah, go check it out, get your own Vince. Have you heard? I've got a brand new book. It's not brand new, I know that, it was out in February, but to you, it may be brand new. How to Get Kids Gardening is available right now on amazon.co.uk. Let's have a little flick to see what great gardening makes over 30 that you could be doing as a family. Maybe you could be making stone and spoon markers, because we all know that labelling up your seeds as you put them into the soil is very important. If not, you've got no idea what's popping through when the little green shoot. That could be anything, couldn't it? Make some stone markers. Really simple, really easy, and really inexpensive. All the gardener makes in here, just literally, the costs hardly anything. I don't know how I can say that. Hardly anything, mate. Hardly anything. Come on around. How to Get Kids Gardening. Amazon. Come on out round. Would you like to support and sponsor this stream? Then you can. You can get your product or service in front of people like Richard from Littlehampton or Sean from London, even Lisa in Northern Ireland. Yeah, we're Mr. Worldwide. I think we've got some people from Australia as well. So if you're from Australia, this is the place to be. If you want to support or sponsor the stream, then please get in contact at lee@skinnyjeangardener.co.uk, and your advert could be at this point right now. Thank you so much to George for coming on the show. What like listening back to that, you can see like I've been sitting on that for like 2 weeks now. And everything that he says has been slowly going around my head. That's why we've talked about it quite a bit on the show for the last couple of weeks, because since I had that chat with him, it really, I mean, obviously you guys pushed me along as well, but that really made me think, right, this has got to happen. Like, we can do this. There's things we can do. If he's doing it in secondary schools, we can 100% get it done in primary schools. And like he said, there's a lot about it's just nothing bringing that together. If you just caught that halfway through, tomorrow on the podcast, if you've got Spotify, Apple Music, Amazon Music, wherever you listen to your audio with your headphones in, It will be on the podcast tomorrow morning from 6 a.m. for your journey into work. If you want to listen back to it, or if you've only just caught it halfway through, then check out the Skinny Jean Gardener podcast over there. Right, quite a few comments coming in throughout that, which is fantastic. So let's have a little look to see what everyone was saying. Sean says you should create a national school gardening day, which actually is not a bad idea. I know again, like I said during that interview, I don't want to just come up with another campaign which does it. I mean, we've got National Children's Garden Week, which I feel like we could probably do a little bit more around schools and probably intertwine it. The last thing, if you check out the documentary, if you go to the top of my Twitter, if you go to YouTube, anywhere like that, you can see the documentary that I was talking about in that interview as well. You'll see I talk a lot about not starting another campaign up. I was talking to a brand today about that, not really just shouting about it. Like, actually, let's get something done. Let's spend a few years actually getting down into it. So National School Garden Day, nice idea. We've got National Children's Garden Week, which we can definitely work upon, which we can definitely do more for. Dan says, agree, Sean, what a great idea. So some people agree with you, Sean, which is nice. So maybe I should look into it. Maybe I shouldn't just wipe it off the board instantly. So yeah, maybe. I mean, I always feel like National Children's Garden Week is a little bit early, like late in the year to celebrate it. Maybe a National School Garden Day to start the season off. Let's put it on the maybe pile. I don't mind that idea. Maybe just to celebrate it. I don't know. That's not a bad idea, actually, Sean. Now everyone's sort of chipping in. Dan's Kitchen Garden, hello. Good evening, my friend. Hope you are good. Oh, by the way, phone lines are open if you want to call in. 0742 357 4520 if you've got anything to say about that chat. Or we can invite you into the chat too, which is so easy. We'll just whack it in the comments like so. Man, he looks like his day. He does, doesn't he? He was such a nice guy. So easy to talk to. So relaxed. So chilled out when during that. Here we go. Stu says, we need to teach children life skills as well as maths and English. And it's funny you talk about that because I was actually talking to my granddad about this the other day. He was talking about handwriting in schools. And I argued that actually the skill of handwriting is important to such. Like, you know, I learned joined up handwriting. I don't know if they still do that, but I've never, as soon as I left school, I stopped doing it. Spent a lot of time learning it. Seems a bit pointless. But the argument I had with him was we're in a computerized world now. Children are going to, you know, I think he was talking about spelling. That's what spelling, handwriting. I argued that too much time is put on those sort of things. Reading, yeah, but spelling and that thing, like, I feel like there's more important things that we can concentrate on in a world where we're on computers, and in the future, all we're going to be able to do, or what we will be able to do, is literally just speak, and it'll be typed for us. Or we won't even have to do that. We'll just send a message, we'll send an email. We're getting onto a right tangent. But yeah, I agree with that. We need to teach children life skills as well as maths and English. They're all important, but life skills too, just not enough. There's not a right enough balance. Did he say don't talk about vegetables? I'm screwed if that's true. Yeah, we need to maybe teach them a little bit more about. I'll send them your podcast, Rich. That'll do it. Ray says very interesting. Thanks so much, Ray. Children have to be allowed to make mistakes and let them learn from them. It's so true, isn't it? That's the best thing. I think gardening is the best thing. One, to teach patience. I've always said that for children, to teach patience. A bit like we're in that instant world of technology, which things can happen really instant. But also, yeah, make mistakes. You learn from them. Not everything goes right. Failure does happen. Dealing with failure is a thing that I think is really important. Yeah, is he coming on? Device not connected yet. I think the man behind the comment. is here. Here he is. Hello, mate. How you doing?
I'm doing fine, mate. How are you?
Yeah, I'm good, dude.
Good interview.
Thanks, man. It was interesting, weren't it?
Yeah, people's been telling both of us for years, you can't do it in secondary schools. Yes, you can, if the head's up for it, or the governors, or whatever. And it's the
Yeah.
same in primary
Well,
schools. If you haven't got the backing behind you, it's like you said, one person leaves, it just all falls apart.
yeah. So
I think I
we've
like the
talked a
way he
lot
does
about,
it. The whole thing, not just gardening, the whole concept.
yeah. I mean, I don't know, Stu. I mean, because I'd never looked into the other stuff before. I wasn't immediately sold on it because it wasn't what I was about. But it does make a lot of sense. It does make a lot of sense.
Yeah, it sort of in the last couple of weeks, I've been talking to another member of the team at school who does what they call ALSA, which is a social skills building. So children that struggle socially. And she's come to me to want to bring it into Forest School. So we're going to start more holistic teaching after half term. So we're going to bring in more things into Forest School, not just gardening and dam building and stuff. We're going to
What
bring
sort
in,
of thing are you doing?
well, help the not the problem child, it's the wrong way of doing it, but children that struggle socially. And that might be that their dad's away in the forces. It might be they're from a single parent family, but to help them open up a bit more and look, because every child learns in a different way. There's sort of four ways of learning. So it's teaching the teachers how to teach that child. So if you can get them out of the classroom and watch how they work outside, you know, if you're planting or you're den building or you're team building with your mates or even playing football, you see who bonds with who. So then helps you then put your team together. So when you're pairing them up to do stuff or you're putting them in little groups of 4, it makes your job easier. And then that makes them happier. You know, so if they're happier, they're more likely to want to learn, regardless of the subject.
Is there like a thing for like, and obviously you're that is sort of concentrated on like troubled children, but is there a thing for like the kids that are getting okay to like be part of that as well?
Yeah,
is it?
It's going to be the whole class. So we're not just going to address the children in that class that needs a little bit of help. It's going to help everybody. So, and it is a lot of, especially at the younger age where they haven't learned to share, or they, you know, or they haven't, they don't know about personal space, because you don't, you know, you have to learn that. You don't know that automatically. So it's about teaching them skills as well. But we do mindfulness, we do yoga. So we're trying to get it a lot more holistic in the school. And it will work if everybody comes on board. You know, and we spoke to the head's up for it, as she's up for everything. So it will, well, I'll know if it works in a couple of weeks' time after half term. But it will work because we want it to work.
It's really interesting that after speaking to George, that is also what's going on in primary school, in your primary school at least, being thought about.
Well, we have ALSA in all the schools in our cluster. ALSA is a common thing, and then we have mindfulness is becoming more common. And then yoga is where you have specialist PE teachers come in. We have a yoga teacher come in or a Zumba teacher come in, you know, dance teachers. We've got a football skills bloke coming in this week. So where a lot of schools aim at spelling bee or a maths challenge or a sports challenge, we try to do other things as well as the norm. Because you've got to teach the whole child. It's not just, I'm old fashioned really, but it's not about the league tables, or it shouldn't be about the league tables. It should be about the children. Because if we didn't have any children in the school, I wouldn't have a job.
No, that's true.
Does that make sense? And it's the same, you know, when I coached football years ago, when I was a young man, you know, people say, oh, your team's amazing. No, my team's not amazing. They're amazing. I only give them the help they need to do what they can do. And it's the same at school. You just give them the tools to do the job. If you can give them the right tools, then they can they can do anything. You know, people laugh at our school motto, you know, but the kids reach through the stars.
That's an S Club 7.
Yeah, it is.
Line,
yeah,
isn't
but
it?
that just shows the age of my head teacher, doesn't it?
Yeah. How is it for you as a forest school teacher to have to, well, not have to, but to go into these sort of things?
I don't mind. I don't mind change. I'm one of the few people that don't mind change. So I will go and have a go at anything. So in the mornings I have to teach normal lessons. I have to teach maths, English, whatever we're doing that day. And in the afternoon, the world's my oyster. I can do what the children want. Like this afternoon, the kids wanted to build a fence, so that's what we built. But they've learned so much from that. You know, they've learned, why do we coppice that wood? Why do we take the wood off the willow? You know, will it grow again? If we cut it the wrong way, it won't grow. So they're learning skills that they can take on into their adulthood. You know, they learn the maths and their English in the mornings, but they will go home and they will talk about that. And they won't be scared to use the pair of secateurs or the saw or the electric saw or the drill, you know, whichever. And that's a lot of it. As parents, we're as guilty as parents, although you shouldn't touch that. You shouldn't do that. That's an adult's job. Why is it an adult's job? If you supervise them correctly and you show them the right way, then they will learn. Would it be nice if Olive could paint her own bedroom, you know, by the time she's 12?
Yeah, and if she could do it now, yeah, I know.
Yeah, but you know what I mean? Why can't she help you? You know?
Well, I don't know what happens, Stu. You're a man with children and that are obviously a lot older now. What happens when you turn into a father that all of a sudden no seems to be like the answer?
Yeah, you got to change that into a positive.
Yeah,
you don't want to say no. We can do it a different way. Don't want to do it that way. Show them the other way.
I'm
not saying I don't say no. I do say no, but sometimes there's a better way or an easier way, My mum told me things about a long time ago. Once you have children, you never sleep the same again, which is true. But and as they get older, it gets worse. But if you were painting Olive's bedroom, the best thing you could do is give her the oldest clothes she's got and give her a paintbrush.
Yeah, I know what you're saying, mate.
Do you know what I'm saying?
I'm with you.
It will take you twice as long. It will probably take you twice as long, but she will remember that in 10 years' time or 20 years' time when Daddy let me paint the bedroom.
Oh, yeah.
And that's what I'm about. Let them make the memories that they're going to remember.
It doesn't stop this other person in the back of my head saying, don't do it, don't do it, don't do it.
You're never going to get that out of your head because you weren't allowed to do it.
That's maybe why. Maybe
because you're brought up from your father or your mother or both. So you get a little bit of both of them. My dad was very much, you got to do it this way. So when he asked me to weed the strawberries, I weeded the strawberries and the strawberries. So everything came out. So I didn't get asked to do it again. But now, if I show somebody how to weed the strawberries and they put a strawberry up, I don't get cross
Yeah.
I just go and get a pot and some compost, and we pot it.
There we go.
So there's always a solution.
Yeah,
but they've learned from it, because you've pulled it up. They've realised they pulled it up. They repot it. They try not to do it again.
Yeah,
it's all about making mistakes. We have to make mistakes to get better in anything. It's like you said a long time ago, your first podcast, if you listen back to your first podcast, then you listen to the one you did yesterday, the difference is amazing, I bet.
Well, some might disagree. Some might disagree.
Yeah. Then I changed that round. Perhaps if Richard listened to his first one and then the one he done Sunday.
Oh, dear.
But it's about making mistakes.
It is, mate. You're so right, and I've always said it's the best way of learning. That's how I learn the best. I learn better making mistakes than reading a book, my friend.
Yeah, well, I don't do books. Only yours.
Thanks, mate. Thanks again.
Right, I'll let you crack on.
I'll see you later, dude.
See you later, mate.
Mr. Stuart Jackson there coming on. He's a man that probably knows what I'm talking about saying no. Hello, Mark.
Hello, mate. How you doing?
Yeah, I'm good, my friend.
That was a great interview. That was fantastic with George there. I must admit, when I saw him on screen, I was like, I kind of know him from somewhere, but I didn't know where it was from. So I kind of Googled who he was. And he's done some great work. And it's brilliant that he has realised exactly what you're realising, is that you need this consistent, methodical support for the schools. Because otherwise it's just going to be glory boys that just go in there and so that fantastic, absolutely fantastic. So are we up for a chat tomorrow? I'm not as prepared as I would like, but I've got something for you if you have a little spot.
Well, we've got a 2-hour spot, mate, so 100%, let's do it.
Yeah, cool. Well, I've been working on, like I say, some like a template that you can just give to schools, a handbook that says these are the plants you can grow really easily that don't have too much watering over the summer and all that sort of thing. I found out today actually that Jerusalem artichoke, which is like a weed of a plant, it contains a compound called inulin rather than starch, which means that kids that have diabetes, they can eat it. Now, obviously not saying the school should feed it to them. The parents can go and buy it from the supermarket, do their own research. But in theory, that could give diabetic kids mashed potato, because you can turn Jerusalem artichokes into a really nice creamy mashed potato, which they normally maybe wouldn't be able to eat. And it's a plant that is tough as old boots, would almost take over an area of the school if you were a little bit, if you weren't careful. I'm asking a friend, I'm cross-referencing this with my wife. You may get to meet her at some point on the podcast. She's sort of saying that I've become a skinny jean gardener widow, where I'm only here Monday to Thursday. not in there with her. But I might try and get her down. She's got good horticultural knowledge as well, so it's a team effort here. I've got some stuff for you tomorrow, hopefully, which is just
nice, man.
It's almost more important to say to people, don't try and grow this type of stuff at schools, because it's wrong season, wrong time. However, this is the stuff you could do. And fantastic interview tonight, mate. That was really cool.
Thanks, dude. Cheers, man. Yeah, I found it I did that about 2 weeks ago, and since then my whole thinking has changed about stuff. And I've talked a lot about brands and stuff, getting in and getting out of these sort of things, and there just needs to be a bit of consistency and people thinking more long term, which is difficult, I know, but as an industry, I think we need to do it.
Well, our whole industry is about long term. It's about growing. It's about a yearly cycle. The products that Garden Centre sell, you use over the course of a year, and you come back the next year and buy more of them. So we as an industry, compared to other industries, we should have this long term longevity in our brains. It's been great show tonight, mate. And
Cheers.
yeah, let us know when you want me tomorrow.
I'll drop you a text, mate.
Cool. Take care.
Look forward to it. Nice one, man. There we go, everybody. It looks like we've got a show tomorrow with Mark, who has been working tirelessly on the project, which is fantastic. So yeah, tomorrow from 8, we've got Mark on the show, and his wife. He's made a skinny jean gardener widow. That. Oh dear. And thanks to Stu for calling in. You too can call in 0742 357 4520 or click the link in the comments if you've got any thoughts about that chat with George Lamb. I'd love to hear from you. The trouble is that powers that be do not see the benefits of learning outside, and that's a really good comment, which means a bit like what George is saying. We're spending at least 5 years on the project is on at the moment, so you can get some data. And I don't know, I've heard some. Oh, we're going to get the RHS on at some point, but I've heard something today that was not ideal for data wise and that sort of thing. But we'll see with that. I don't want to be too judgmental, but data, like we're going to spend a year at least on 10 pilot schools for this. Get some data, see how things work. Maybe spend another year, which even for me, I'm a bit like, man, people that really know me will know that I won't want to hang around for too long, but I just need to get this right. This is the thing, like, I just want to get this right. This is my mission. I don't care really. I'm not bothered really if it takes me 10 years. It's not really. I'll tell you what. I'll be straight with you, dear listener. I love doing skinny jean gardener stuff, and I've done kids gardener stuff, and I've done the gold jacket stuff for a while, and I love doing that, and I'll continue doing the entertainment shows, and I'll continue going to schools. I'll continue doing different little campaigns and bits and bobs. But at the end of it, all I'm left with is the Ferrari or a Micra, a brand new Micra probably. And at the end of it, I feel like I'm at a point in my life where I'm feeling like I need to do something that is worthwhile and fulfilling. And I've always talked about kids gardening stuff. Always talked about getting into schools. And now is the time to, sit back, not sit back, sit down and actually make this happen. And the only person that can really push it, I know, is me. You guys are really helping me as well. So that's a bit of my thought process. So I really don't mind how long it takes. It'd be good if it happened before Olive left primary school, that I could say to her that we did it throughout the country. But that's what we're working on. That's the dream, guys. That's the dream. And then I can retire happy, right? With the Ferrari, probably just be sleeping in that Ferrari, but there you go. But yeah, the trouble is that powers that be do not see the benefits of data is going to be key to that, Stu. Data is going to be key. I think they do see it, but they can't make it work in terms of looking good on tables, which is talking about again how schools are judged, which really needs to change. And that is something I can't do. That's nothing to do really with me. That's a fight. You've got to pick your fights. But really, schools and how they're judged, and now they get this 5-star, they get 5-star, but whatever the system is, they get. I can't remember what it's called on top of my head. Needs to change. I know schools, when we were looking for Olive, what was that called? Someone in the comments will know what it's called. But the way they're rated is really, really important. So, yeah, that needs to change in schools. Thanks, Sean. Very interesting, extremely interesting. It's a shame funding is the main problem where money is wasted throughout. Yeah, I'll be honest with you. There's a lot of wasted dosh, Dan. A lot of wasted dosh going about, which is a shame. It is a shame, isn't it? It is a shame. And I know we need to do funding and stuff, but initially, to get this off the ground is I'm trying to get some brands and stuff on board with it. So that's, I mean, the garden industry want young people. I mean, it makes sense for garden industry and brands to get on board with this, because if you look forwards to 10, 15, 20 years time, these children that are in primary schools right now are the ones that are going to be buying your product. If they don't know about you now, they might find out about you in the future, but they're not going to bother, are they? They're not going to really care. This is like brand talk, really, but they're not really going to care about your brand. But wouldn't it be amazing to have a brand that says that in the future, child or adult turns around and goes, yeah, I remember back at school when so-and-so helped me get into gardening. You have to look at the whole child. Every child learns differently, so they need to teach every child the way they learn. Some have to do it, some read it, some just see it. So long story short, they are all unique. Hello, Mr. Richard Suggett.
Hello, mate. How you doing?
I'm very well, man. How are you?
Yeah, very well, thank you. Just chilling out here, watching you on the show, and agreeing with Mark said about being a skinny jean gardener widow, because my wife certainly would agree.
Right, mate, I don't. It just, I don't know what happened there. What happened? I don't know what happened. It just sort of hung up. I think it was my signal. Sorry, Richard. You can call back in. A lot of skinny jean gardener widows. I don't want to cause any trouble, mate. I don't want to cause any trouble with the wives of the internet. We got some signal problems on the old Telemic phone. It's probably the best way is to call through the system. Right. Well, I'm just lost on my comments. Community youth clubs may be good. Most have some outdoor space already, says Dan, which is so true. I mean, after school clubs and that could be the way forwards as well. I really ideally like to try and get it into the school day. Hello, mate.
Hello, mate. Hello again.
I don't know what happened there.
It's technology let us down at the crucial moment yet again.
Anyway, you're also a skinny jean gardener widower, so
yeah, I know. I told my wife I'll take her out one day though.
That'll do it, mate. That'll fix things.
Yeah, keep her happy. Yeah, bless her. Bless her. And I told her you won't be coming along. I won't be watching you at the same time. It'll be just me and her. For a change.
Great stuff, man. Great stuff. What are your thoughts, Rich?
You know what? I really enjoyed that interview from George. I kind of felt, because he was coming somewhere from experience, he shed quite a bit of light onto things that I'd never really thought of. And I think I was one of these people that always said I thought it was going to be difficult to get kids or teenagers more interested in gardening. Based on my own experience when I was at school, I don't know what it's like when you were at school, but if you were interested in gardening, you were considered a bit sad, a bit old, a bit boring.
I wouldn't know, mate. I was head of the Robot Wars Club, so...
Well, yeah. But did you have anybody at your school that, at a teenager years that said they was interested in gardening?
Yeah, man, they were nerds.
I rest my case.
I think that's true. I think we did. Even though I was one of the nerds, I thought they were nerdier than me because they like gardening.
Yeah, I rest my case. I completely rest my case. But what I really took away from that was that when George said we've got to get the cool kid involved and get him interested, and everyone else will follow.
Yeah, it's a good point, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely. And I think I said to you, one idea that I've always felt where teenagers could be interested, or excuse me, sorry, or one way to get kids interested is theme parks and zoos, where they do have gardeners who have created these, well, I think to be quite interesting gardening, perhaps using tropical plants if it's like an Aztec zone, or I'm trying to think about a jungly environment to make it look like a jungle through their gardening and their planting.
Yeah.
And I don't know, again, I'm sure when you were a teenager, if you said you were going on a trip to a theme park or something, you would have paid attention and made sure you got every question 100% right so you could go play on a game or something.
Oh, I'll be all over it, mate. We said about this, didn't we? We said we're going to do. Were we going to do that? Did we talk about this last year and then we were going to do it this year?
I think we spoke about it earlier on this year, but everything's gone to the wayside.
Little did we know our little adventure around the country touring theme parks would been ruined by a pandemic.
Yeah, I know, silly pandemic.
It's so true though. Like, what a fantastic day trip to get a bit of gardening and a little bit of fun involved.
Yeah, you're sort of dangling a carrot in front of the kids to get them interested, but it's got to start somewhere.
Mate,
And
I think that's such a good
way to do it.
Do you know, I've just such a good idea. I mean, at the moment, it's not ideal timing, I know. But I'm going to write that one down. I think that's such a good idea. I think we could definitely do something with that. Imagine it being an option for schools to do that as well.
Yeah, I mean, you would need the head gardeners at these sites to come along and have a chat and just talk about what they do and how they create these environments. But
yeah, that'd be essential.
But I'm sure, because I don't think the gardeners in these places get much appreciation at the best of times. I think they're often ignored.
Yeah, I'm usually one of them people. Just actually, did I go? Seems crazy, but just before the summer holidays, I think I went to
Colchester Zoo.
No, I think I've been to Chesington during the pandemic somehow. I have.
Yeah.
Chesington World of Adventures. Yeah. And I'll be honest with you, it was a terrible social distance and day, but we got through it. And I loved it. Olive had a lovely time on the ride, sure, but I loved it looking at the planting and no one else cared about it. People in our group just were not bothered about the plant, and I was just having a good old look around as if I was on a day trip to a gardens. Yeah.
I don't know if you've ever been to Alton Towers, but they got some huge gardens over there.
In fact, that was the first thing they opened, wasn't it? When everything reopened, they just opened the gardens.
Oh, that doesn't surprise me. It doesn't surprise me at all.
So there we go, mate. That's a 2021. If Donald Trump can go around in his car, mate, and do whatever he wants, then I'm sure next year we'll be able to go on our tour of our research tour of theme parks.
Just to see the gardens.
Yeah, sure. Well, I mean, we might go on some rides, right?
That's not for public knowledge. It's a working trip.
Sure. Yeah. Sure. We'll put it through on the the old accounts. Yeah, man. Yeah, I think you're right. I think it's a good idea, and yeah, I really, like I said earlier to Mark and to Stu, I really enjoyed that chat. It made me think a lot.
Yeah, I mean, I liked it because he's seen the problem and he's tackling the problem and he's not sort of giving up.
Yeah,
he's recognising it and he's adapting and overcome. And I got the impression there's a bit of thinking outside the box as well going on.
Yeah, well, you said about that cool kids bit, like you said, because they've got them other aspects that are. I mean, once you get into secondary school, you have a bit more attitude. You have a bit more of your own mind about what's cool and what's not. In primary school, not as much. I think anything out of the ordinary is cool in primary school. Yeah,
I think. But I also think if you're the type that is a bit different to everyone else, there's a chance that child would be ridiculed because of it.
Are we talking primary or secondary?
Secondary.
Oh, yeah. Oh, 100%.
The secondary kids are the worst ones.
Yeah, 100%. Because if these things that George was doing around the whole gardening thing wasn't there, then whoever was a part of that would have just absolutely, be ridiculed, wouldn't they?
Yeah.
But it's because, like you said, because he's got the boxing part in it, he's got the mindfulness part of it, everything else that comes around it, and then they almost accidentally fall into gardening.
Exactly.
Through that, it's quite a clever way of doing it.
Yeah. And I mean, I've just seen Stuart put in a comment about teenage kids are into healthy eating, so gardening in some ways goes along with that, but that's incorporating another type of class, home economics or whatever it is nowadays, into that.
Yeah.
Into gardening.
Which is as it should be.
Absolutely, yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah, man. Yeah, a lot to think about, mate. A lot to think about.
Yeah.
But we're coming on. Hey, I mean, I know we took you away quite a bit from your wife, but are you up for coming on the show tomorrow with Mark?
Absolutely, yeah.
Cool, man. We'll also see you as our vegetable expert. I can't call myself an expert on vegetables. I'm like hit and hope kind of guy.
I won't call myself an expert either, just experience.
Can you just call yourself an expert, because I think you're the best we've got?
Okay, yeah,
so just pretend,
I'm the best.
Yeah, just keep. Yeah, well, I'll introduce you as an expert, right?
I want Tina Turner singing "Simply the Best" when I come on. Then
I'll see what you can do. I think I'll probably get copyright strike. Rich, I'll speak to you tomorrow, mate.
Have a good one.
Bye, dude.
Bye.
Yeah, a lot to unpack from that. Me and Rich did talk about that theme park theme before. I think it's a good idea. We have missed a third ad break. I'm not going to put a third ad break in on the final 8 minutes. You've got away with that, team. Great interview, says Dan. Thank you. Fascinating interview. Lots to think about. Yes, Dan says yes, really was. Going on Sean's idea earlier, National School Garden Day or even week would be fantastic. Yeah, I think you're right. I think a day just to kick things off of the year might be an idea. I need to talk about it a little bit more. Maybe we need to talk about it a little bit more. I know that's a lot of work goes into that as well. Amazing interview, says Stu. Thank you. National School Garden Week is in half term. That says it all. Is there an actual National School Garden? I think there is. Oh, there is a National School Garden Week already, I believe. National. I'm just going to type it into the old noggin. National School Garden Week. I'm sure I saw it pop up the other, and I thought, why? But also, why this is the problem. No, I can't find it. There is a National Schools Garden Week. I'm sure there is. I can't find it on the Tinternet at the moment. This is the problem. I don't want to run into another week that takes away the concentration from everything else. Sean says, I never heard of National Gardening Kids Week or whatever it's called. Well, that sort of says it all, doesn't it? Because there's so many different weeks going about that we sort of go away from the point of it, or from the attention of it. I've heard of the week, but not that well known, says Sean, who kids do gardening. I've only recently got involved in it, and I'll be honest with you, the only that's from the HTA again. So the HTA we'll be talking to soon. I've recently got involved in this year. I did some videos for them. I've known about them for about a few years now. But the first time I noticed them was at Chelsea Flower Show. Mr. Chris Collins does a lot for him as well, which is great. We should definitely get Chris on at some point, shouldn't we? I'll ask him if he'll come on, because we did have Chris on before. But I really want to find out, because he's been on the trenches. He's been out there. He's done it for so many years. And I've been doing it on my own for like three years now. I'm a newbie compared to him. You can teach everything like maths and English using horticulture and gardening, says Mr. Ben Brace, which is so true. Getting it in there. And that says, hi mate, it seems quite bad on YouTube. Like, yeah, it's pretty bad all the time, isn't it? But we'll sort it somehow. Is gardening Is gardening more instant, aka the likes of Richard Growlights? Yes, Ian, is the answer. You can make gardening quicker and more instant, and you can grow things that can happen like overnight. Not over, that's a bit of an exaggeration, but I've always said those are probably the worst things you can do for gardening, because gardening is fantastic for teaching patience, to slow down, realize that things don't just come instantly, like things you can order off the internet and then come the next day. Life doesn't work like that. Gardening doesn't work like that. And it never will, unfortunately. It can through like grow lights and things like that. It can do that, but we're not really learning much there, are we? That's the thing. We're not learning too much. 4 minutes left to show, so I'll get a few comments tonight. Have you got fireworks going off down there? I think it's ridiculously too early. It scared the cat so much it run up the Christmas tree. There's a lot to unpack in that comment. I'll be honest with you, Ian. Great thing now, Lee. Most schools are in academies, so linked with 4 or other schools with more funds, resources, access spread across, which is good. That's really good to know, Dan, for funding, especially with some of the bits that we're going to be looking at next year, which is sort of going on behind the scenes. The schools are going to have to dig in their pockets a little bit. We're going to make it as easy as possible for them, but they might have to dig in a little bit, which is good there, especially the secondary. I've not seen too many around that my way, but we'll see what goes on there. Artichoke talk happened earlier on. Inland causes wind, which might not go down with the kids, or might do. Then that with a classroom full of wind all week. Need to get an ad break on, or we've missed that ad break. 3 minutes left to go. Sorry about that, Ian. I hope you haven't wet yourself. You could focus on garden season from September to May and winter food, which I think is important. One of the things that I'd really love to get into kids gardening is even for me. I've talked a lot on the show about only being a summer gardener, and I've only recently this year going to be a continuous yeared gardener, not a seasonal gardener, is what I'm saying. Wouldn't it be fantastic to get that for children already in the noggin at a younger age? Loosen architects make you a bit gassy. Could be another win with the school kids. Says Ben. I don't have to do it. I do have the belt, and I always forget it. Someone remind me about the people that always call in. You again, says Flatfish Tuna. Hello, Flatfish Tuna. How you doing? Haven't seen you about for a while. You'll do it because you and the group will keep pushing. I'll give until I retire. Only 10 years, mate. Will Richard be taking her to Asda? Says Ian. I don't know what that's about. Need to visit Disney for the best gardens. Yeah, well, that could be the tour. Most teenage children are into healthy eating, which we talked about a minute ago with Rich. I would just like to say a big thank you for the £10 voucher I received it today. Residents will enjoy buying something for their garden. Yeah, do you know what, Dan? 2 vouchers went out from that competition the other week. One was from me, and the other was from Mark, who always features on the show. Is on tomorrow, so I think he sent your one. So big up, Mark, for supplying that voucher, and great that the residents will enjoy it and actually use it. That's fantastic. Kay says, just brought loofah seeds, not loofah. We'll talk about loofah tomorrow, maybe. School garden day in spring would be amazing. So maybe that's something we can look at. Maybe something we can look at. That would be good. Mongolian giant seeds. I hope they grow big. Those that love garden and love life. Says Alan Gandy Don. Just put some sunflowers from Kelly. Then Mongolian giants. And finally, my grow lights don't make it instant, just more successful. We've got to make it quicker though, right? I know they make it, nothing's instant, which is is our parting comment tonight. Gardening is not instant, if we've learned anything tonight. Right, there we go, everyone. 2 hours tonight of absolute gold. I hope you've really enjoyed it. Thank you very much for your input after the interview today. Thank you very much to George Lamb for coming on the show. If you missed that interview, then don't worry about it. You can watch it back on the YouTube, or you can listen to it on the way to work tomorrow on the Skinny Jean Gardener podcast that we uploaded at 6 a.m. in the morning. I hope that's early enough for you. Oh, that's early enough. 6 a.m. if you want to listen back to that. That is available on Apple Music, Spotify, Amazon Music Podcast, or wherever you get your podcast from. Is what I'm trying to say. Thanks so much. Thanks so much for everyone that has commented, called in tonight, and gave their opinion. We're back tomorrow with Mark and Richard as we continue that story and continue our own personal campaign here on the show. Thanks for watching. I'll see you tomorrow night. Facilia. Or Pacilia, if you just read it off there.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm on.
Oh, I can't hear you, Anon. I've done something wrong with the thing. Anyway, elephant poo is what I got.
Good evening, Lee. How are you?
Great, mate. Your signal is always terrible, but I'm good, my friend. Excuse me. You got an allotment? When I go, don't put artificial grass on top of me, alright?
Are you going to get composted, Lee?
Yeah,